And I'm just going to show a quick ad for ConnecTogether. I'll start in 2 minutes here. Oh, there's somebody. Sheena. All right.
Thank you for attending this ConnecTogether event. During this event, we have automatic closed captioning available. Please go to the bottom of the Zoom meeting, click Live Transcript, and then Show Subtitles to turn them on. Before we begin, we'd like to take a quick moment to let you know how you can join an opinion research panel made specifically for British Columbians living with disabilities.
For 25 years, the Disability Foundation has been fostering meaningful experiences for Canadians with disabilities through outdoor recreation, social connectedness, innovative adaptive devices, and more. Today we are asking, how has the pandemic affected you? Help strengthen decision makers' understanding of your needs and experiences by joining an online opinion research panel consisting solely of people with disabilities and their caregivers. Make a difference in your community today. The Disability Foundation. Reimagine what is possible.
Did you know? Young adults with disabilities have a harder time getting hired. Break down barriers by sharing your story. Take our survey.
All right. Welcome, Maureen. I'm just going to make you a co-host so that you can unmute yourself as well. And welcome, Sheena.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Maureen. How are you?
Well, just a little hectic. Sorry, I'm just not quite. I'm here.
Okay.
Let's
Thank
leave
you
it
for
at that.
being here.
Thank you.
So it doesn't look like Art is with us, and he was from Global Network Personnel Home Care Solutions. So might just be us having a conversation, or maybe he'll pop in at some point.
I hope he does, because he's certainly knowledgeable. I mean, he's just an expert in this area.
Yeah, I really hope he does too. He would add a lot to the conversation. So we'll see. I sent out another reminder email to him with the link. So even though we have a small group today, remember this is being broadcasted to YouTube and Facebook, and it will live there as sort of a resource center and a wealth of information for people. So can we start by Maureen, you introducing yourself?
Sure. Maureen DeLanderville. I have been a member of the Disability Foundation forever. Just about broke my neck 30 years ago, I think. And the first thing I did was the disabled sailing, at that time, disabled sailing. And just, it was such an incredible experience that there was nothing that could compare at that time with regards to feeling free and where disability was irrelevant. At this time, I am the chair of the Disability Foundation, proud to be in that role and hoping very much to help grow the organization so that we can have a far larger group of people being able to have access to the terrific programs the affiliated societies provide.
Yes, thank you. We're very happy to have you in that position.
Thank you.
And Pooja, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Pooja Kotian. I have been a caregiver for about 6 years. I have been with the current company I'm working with, Nurse Next Door, for about 3 years. I started as a caregiver 3 years ago, and then last year I got promoted of a care ambassador, which is a little bit of everything. So I still do a lot of caregiving shifts, but then I also assist clients and caregivers with any issues and, kind of sort of just mediating the smooth transition in the home care.
Awesome.
And may I speak to Pooja just a little bit?
Yes, of course. That's
I'd
what
like
we're
to
here
say
for.
I have had Pooja as a caregiver,
Yeah.
and I don't forget it was a long time ago, and I don't know, it was very few times, but she has stood out in my memory with regards to a good caregiver. So
Oh, thank you.
accolades to Pooja.
That's so nice that you know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a little bit about the format that we're trying to go after here is I do want it to be an open conversation, a dialogue, exchanging information. If anyone here wants to ask a question, I've made everyone a co-host, so you should be able to unmute yourself and you can just speak up. If you prefer to chat in the chat box, type your question, I can ask your question for you as well. I'll also be trying to monitor any comments that happen on YouTube.
And
yeah,
I'm sorry, again to interrupt. I am not quite ready. I'm going to keep it on, but I'm just going to turn off the video till I catch up. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we start with you, Pooja? Why did you get into caregiving?
I have always wanted to do something in the medical field. I was good in sciences in school, and I moved to Canada when I was 17. And I thought caregiving was the perfect base for anything medical. So, maybe I want to go to nursing school in the future or be a physiotherapist. And I feel like being a caregiver gives me that base and that experience to understand every single client on a personal level. So I think if in the future I do decide to further my education, I think this would be a really good my back, because I know so much about client care.
Yeah, a good base. That's a really good point. And so what were your initial thoughts when sort of entering the industry? Is it different than you thought it would be? Is it?
Yes. It was when I first entered, I was 18 and young and, didn't really know exactly what to expect. And I just thought that it was just going to be hanging out with a bunch of people and just, reading books to them and things like that. But, as soon as my practicum started, it was not that.
Right.
I just got a slap of reality. So I was a little nervous in the beginning because I didn't think that I connected with most clients as well as my other fellow students. I also had a little bit of, I just moved from India, so I had a little thicker accent. My English was not as strong. So I was a little nervous about that, but I have to say that all my clients and my fellow students were amazing, and I got lots and lots of support throughout my career that I am very confident now, and I feel like I was actually born to do this.
That's so nice. So how long have you been doing it then?
6 years.
Okay, right on. I see Art just joined us. Thank you so much for being here, Art.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I used your other link that I thought would work from the previous meeting, but it didn't. So I didn't get any response, and
oh no.
So here I am. I had to re-enter everything. So
okay.
I'll put my camera on.
Beautiful. I'm glad that you could make it. I would love it if you could just sort of introduce yourself to everybody and sort of your tie to caregiving.
Yeah, I'm just, I was testing my camera to make sure it worked, and I think it's interfering. So now it should come
Joys
on.
of Zoom meetings.
Yeah. Okay, one second here.
Yeah, no problem.
There we
There you
are.
go.
Okay, so
Nice to see you.
nice to see you all. I'm moving my screen around so I'm looking at you instead of sideways. Yeah, so who here already knows me? You know me, Maureen, and Pooja, you don't, and sorry, I don't know your name with
Emily.
Emily. Okay, so have we met?
We have met. I met you, I want to say it was like at an accessible community forum, but no, it was, you were doing a talk with us. It was maybe another perspective series. I can't remember.
I did that in September. Yeah.
Yeah.
The business one.
Yes.
So, and Josie.
Jose.
Okay, so I'm not
the
sure.
French of Josie.
Right. Have we met?
Maybe along the way at a talk, but not in person.
Sure. And there's only one person there, Sheena Han. Sheena.
Yes. Hi, Art. Hi.
We've met before.
Yes, I just like to hear what this is about. Sorry, Art.
So I just thought I'd find out, because there's like a small group here, and we either don't know each other, or we do, and if we don't, then we might as well get to know each other well enough. So yes, people with the foundation and various other groups know me already. I'm very active as an artist and business person and a number of different things. And GNP is a group that I work with because I'm very friendly with the people who run it. And I've worked with them for years in a unofficial capacity, but they asked me to help with some, I guess you could call this public relations or just being up there in front of people. And I also do client relations for them. So I help them understand really what I kind of bridge the gap between the people with disabilities who have their needs and understand them, and the people who do the assistance and don't really know what it's like to be in the position, right? Nobody understands the world of disabilities until they're in it, and then they understand it all too well. And it's a different thing to be the receiver of these caregiving services as opposed to the person helping. So for the benefit of those on both sides, yes, I kind of visit both worlds, and at least I have that perspective, which is not that common in the caregiving industry. People who deliver the care usually have no idea what it's like to receive it. So I just try to help out as far as people understanding things from both sides. So that's where I'm coming from today.
May I make a comment on that?
Yeah, please do.
I think there are exceptions, Art. I have a live-in caregiver that's been with me now for 4 years, and I truly believe he does know both sides. He's extremely smart and intuitive, a nurse background from the Philippines. And I think over time, at any rate, in my opinion, he does. I didn't realize how rare that might be, but I suspect it is the case.
Well, I don't mean to say that the caregivers don't understand. They understand very well. I've had people that have worked with me for a long time too, and they can do the job with their eyes closed and their hands behind their back, and they know exactly what to do. But I'm really meaning it from the point of a new client that comes in, that like somebody who's just been injured or has come into their disability recently, and then trying to communicate their needs with a person that's trying to pair them up with somebody who's going to work for them and with them and help them. That may or may not be, chances are the person that's going to be providing the service understands the business pretty well.
Yeah.
But in order to communicate and find the right person, you really have to identify what the person needs first. And in some cases, help them understand what they can expect. And sometimes, well, let's say we in the disability side understand that it's pretty hard to find really good people, not just because they're hard to find, but because this is very personal. And even if you have all of the description of the person's needs and the this kind of disability or whatever it may be, it's still a big jump to find a person that's just right. So it's I'm not saying that I do something that no one can do. I'm just saying I help smooth this process out a bit better.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I do. And as far as, go ahead.
I was going to say, for anyone here that is maybe, thinking about getting some sort of care aid, can you tell us a little bit about that process? Or Maureen, do you want to tell us sort of how you found your live-in care now?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say to Art, yes, that is a wonderful role that you play, and I can understand the difference between the two things we were talking about. I was just pure luck. I had someone that I had an existing caregiver from an agency. When I went on to the Cecil program, she recommended this niece of hers, and I had never met or even spoke to online, but it just turned out to be absolutely perfect and better ever than I could possibly have imagined. So pure luck. I can give no guidance for anyone else except hope you're lucky in life.
Yeah.
And I tend to be, so perhaps that's just what it is. The universe provides, it seems.
Yes. Huda, what does it look like as a caregiver to be assigned to, what does the process look like to find a person?
Before you do all that,
let me just say one thing, if you don't mind.
Why
I'm just going to tilt back while you talk. Just ignore, I'm just doing a weight shift.
Okay.
Just Sorry. So you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, to say.
I am caregiving for myself, and I am caregiving for my husband, who is ill. I am in a wheelchair, and he is half and half. And I have a tad bit more energy than he does. And just because of situation, I'm not in the Cecil program. I'm not, we're trying to survive with little. I had a bacterial infection that took me from being in a wheelchair, and my system shut down with the autonomic system. And in 2019, I could not move 1 inch, except a bit of my hands and arms, but with no strength. I could lift my fork to my mouth, but I needed my adapted forks to do that. And I went from receiving care in order to assist me once or twice a week, because that's all we could afford, to needing somebody 3-4 times a day. And I have not been as lucky. My case manager did not assist me. No one in the Vancouver health system helped when I was taken out of hospital. And I was charged a per diem because we're on disability and we're on pension. And I am still employed. However, my case manager looked at me and how resourceful I have been and decided I'm far more able than I look. And therefore said I should go private. I shouldn't bother with the Vancouver Coastal Health System. But private was even more money. So I'm listening to you all today from I'm caring for my husband and I'm caring for myself. I managed to relearn to transfer on a board. I've managed to watch. I've managed to do enormous physical work because I work 7 days a week at it. And also I'm in a big misunderstanding with my husband, who does not want care aids in the house for himself. And had I remained as unable to move as I did, we'd be in a different situation. We'd both be in care or something. I'm still fighting an enormous bill from Vancouver Coastal Health, who doesn't believe that me receiving a T4 for still being employed is valid enough. So luckily I've regained, but the minute I'm going to stop anything, I'm going to go backwards, I know, because I just went through vertigo and 6 weeks of operation recovery. So I know my muscle, I've lost momentum from all of this, but I was so scared and I guess stubborn, because I told my husband, well, you watch me, I'm going to get back into shape. And I was so scared that nothing would reactivate, that I'm going above and beyond what I was doing in November 19. Wow. So just so that if it happens again, I'll be at a higher level to recover, if my body allows me to recover. So I'm trying to understand the system and why, because I'm resourceful, I get shortchanged, but they limited my ability to receive 4 times a day, so that I could never qualify for CESO. So it's an interesting world I'm still trying to understand, but yeah. I've watched care aides that were working 3 jobs a day, and we're coming and making tons of mistakes, skipping tons of steps. So I'm glad it's all really working well for you guys. And maybe, Art, when you advocate, keep an eye open for all this that you're probably aware of.
Well, but anyway, I can tell you,
I'll be quiet from now on and listen to all of you, because you have far more good experience than I've experienced.
Thank you for sharing all of that.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Sounds like there's some connections that you could benefit from. You shouldn't be out there all alone. That sounds pretty risky and dangerous. There's got to be some ways to help you, and they're kind of beyond I think the scope of this meeting here right now. But I think we in this group can put you in touch with some people that you can talk to and get a bit of support, because it sounds like you're kind of a heroic champion in a way, but you know, you don't want to run yourself down and get beat up in this system too. There's ways that I'm sure you can benefit, but But the contradiction in your case is that you've worked very hard to recover, and most people either are permanently disabled or not, and they fit in one world or the other, and that's what the system addresses, and it doesn't deal with kind of uncertainty too well, or kind of
I'm permanently disabled. I
well,
still cannot, I can stand and do a few steps, but I am still fully dependent on my wheelchair. It will take me years to regain a lot of what I've lost, but I have made progress in movement that I didn't think would be possible. But yeah, it puts me as I am technically anybody that's progressively disabled like me doesn't achieve what I've done.
Yeah, I'd say you're an exceptional case, and the system doesn't do too well with an exceptional case. Yeah, so
that's interesting that the system doesn't do too well with an exceptional case. Like, can you say more on that?
They want you to fit in one box or the other box, and if you don't really fit in one box or the other box, then they don't know where to put you necessarily, and they want you to be something probably that you are not, because it's great that you're making all this progress, but you're not maybe quite ready to be like totally without help, right? So that would be an unfair kind of thing, but that's what they kind of expect, is your box A or your box B. So I would say, unofficially, you didn't hear me say this, but kind of take the case that you need the help, and when you don't, you'll let them know. But you probably need an advocate. You might need a lawyer, and like I said, there's some people that we in this group can probably set you up with to speak to, that can give you some advice that might make you feel a lot more comfortable and give you a place to start, kind of in bringing some order and safety and things to yourself.
Mm-hmm. So you're not alone.
Yes.
No, you don't want to be alone in this kind of situation.
I've always experienced this in the community care, that whenever someone is an exceptional case, that is exactly what happens. And I always, if there is a reassessment being done, I always tell my clients, tell them that you need the help, because the minute you tell the case manager that, oh, I can shave on my own, or, I do this sometimes by myself, those hours get taken away from you, which is really unfair, because with disabilities, you have good days and you have bad days. So you cannot just assume that if the person can do this today, they can do it tomorrow. And you would think that, out there, the case managers would know that. But I mean, I know that they don't have funding, and I understand their side of the story too, but it's unfair for a person who's dealing with so much already, like with their physical limitations or maybe mental, that, they have the care and then it gets taken away from them because one time they were lucky enough to do it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, number one, if you're looking for help, make a care plan, make a plan of what you need, and make it worst case scenario.
Exactly.
So you're covered on the terrible day when nothing works. And, if things just get better to the point where you don't need the help anymore, well, you'll be the first to tell them, but you got to cover for when the days for when you need the help.
Yeah. Right. So it's up to your caseworker to decide how many hours you get.
Yes.
Well, yeah, somebody will decide that somewhere in the chain, depending on your funding source, etc. And depending on who's doing the work, right? If you hire privately, then you get to decide those things. If you have a budget yourself, great. But if you depend on resources from Vancouver Coastal Health or whatever your insurer might be, then you've got to work with that, right?
Right.
But again, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Maureen.
Again, using the worst case scenario as a basis.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've done it myself. Maybe it's the years of experience or Maybe it's because when you're injured like I was, and you're going out into the world post injury, I can tell you I was legitimately afraid that I would not have enough hours and enough money to pay for the people, to assist me. And I knew I would need help. It was not, maybe it'll be like, worse than I expect. I had already been pretty much completely, let's say, unable to do most things. And I knew I would need help with almost everything. So in my case, the worst case scenario was pretty much what I had to deal with every day. There wasn't too much different, but even then, there's always the days that are even more difficult. And of course, I'm not saying my life is, believe me, I've been through this like 20 plus years, and I deal with everything. But there are the days when things don't work out quite as planned. And you got to be able to prepare for those, even though most days might be better than that. But got to be prepared for everything.
Right. I do just want to touch on something that you said there. You were aware that you were going to need help with everything. And I know Jose said that her husband doesn't necessarily want caregivers in the house. And I just wanted to sort of ask, at what point do you know that you need help, or that you accept that you need help? And especially if you're caregiving for somebody else. My dad has Parkinson's disease and dementia, and my mom struggles with a lot of guilt and shame around, at what point is it too much for me to handle?
Well, I can give you a quick answer on that. And that is, I'm sorry, it's not necessarily a quick answer. Okay. It's an answer quickly. And that is that pre-existing relationships can make things very difficult. A marriage, etc. When there's an abrupt change in the person and what they expect and their situation, and they're not willing to acknowledge it. It's very tough for somebody to go from being fully independent and suddenly needing help for everything. And that's not something everybody wants to admit. But I would say, Jose, in your husband's case, you got to say, listen, okay, if you need the help, this is what we need. This is not a matter of ego or comfort or happiness or privacy. If you need the help, in a case where, Jose, you could be just really, really coming close to burning yourself out, trying to do everything or make the money, help yourself and take care of your husband. That sounds like a recipe for serious fatigue if you're not careful. So you got to say to him, this is not me again. This is just saying, realistically speaking, you've got to come to grips with the fact that you need help. Okay. And this is what we got to do. We got to talk to get a social worker is a good start, and just start talking about what's necessary. And then what are the sources of funds? What are the alternatives? There's, maybe there's insurance, maybe there isn't. We don't need to get into the specifics, but sources of funds, ICBC, WorkSafe, insurance, government funding, family, some people have funds in their family, and that's great. Most people, this adds up to a lot of money fast when you're paying for care workers. So err on the side of saying you need more money than you actually need. Plan for unexpected, financial, costs, and say, this is a situation we need to acknowledge reality. And, would I rather have nobody come into my house? Would I like my privacy? Would I like my friends to come over? Would I like my relationships not burdened by caregivers, helping me with this or that? Well, those would be nice things, but that's a fantasy. And I'm not living in that world. I'm living in reality. And the reality is, I need caregivers, and they come every day. and they help me get up in the morning. They help me eat. They help me wash, dress, shave, whatever. They help me make my meals. They help me get to bed every night. They help me with everything. And that's something that I wouldn't necessarily want if I had a choice, but I don't have a choice, you know. So, yeah.
Your husband may not be able to understand the toll it's taking. And so it might be that you have to stand up to look after yourself. I went for 21 years looking after myself. And then it just became clear that I wasn't taking good enough care. I wasn't, it was taking a toll, a physical toll. I wasn't as clean as I should be. And that's what, so that it was then that I took the step. So it's quite possible to go from being able to do it to not being able to do it. And you're definitely on that line by the sound of it, because it's taking such a toll. And it could take one day when you could go from doing all that you do to the next day not being able to do it. And that's what you need to be protected from. So you need to set up a system so that you have support now that you don't get to that place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Preventative, proactive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only safe way for you and for your husband.
Thank you very much. I am, I burn out. I try to do some preventative things, but I find myself falling asleep with my glasses on. Yeah. So the minute I'm in bed, I just, I don't even have time to take them off. So I know I'm overtired.
Oh my God, yes.
And that's been going on for months. And with the surgery I just had, instead of having a calm, quiet 6-week recovery, I ended up kicking in after week 2. Yeah, because there was not enough food totally made. So I was letting go of everything else, but making a meal right. for at least dinner. And
wow. That's a lot.
Well, it sounds like you're overdoing it. So you better reach out. There's people you can talk to. They're there.
I will.
What comes to mind is Paul Gauthier. Anyway, we can talk.
Well, yeah, there's a number of people. He's one of them. Yeah, I agree.
Maybe we can exchange some information after this, and just say if you're okay with it, maybe I can pass your email address along as well.
Mm-hmm. That would be great, because I'm missing the link as to who do I deal with and who can I connect with. That would be great. Thank you very much for spending this extra time chatting about.
Well, we each one of us could probably put a few contacts on a piece of paper. Not necessarily physically a piece of paper, but we'll email them to you, Emily. Emily, have I got that right? Yeah. And we'll make sure you, Jose, get that. And there's some more things we can add to, but there's meetings you should immediately be attending, but we won't stray out to other organizations in this meeting, I don't think.
Okay.
We'll keep it focused. But the answers are there right now. We'll get them to you very quick.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So in saying that, if somebody, watching this later is thinking about, I think I'm ready for some help. I know, Art, you mentioned sort of making a care plan and finding a social worker. Just sort of some of the steps that you should take if you're trying to begin to navigate the system. And I would love to hear from Pooja as well on this, about how it works where you work.
So Nurse Next Door is private. So if you need the help, you got it, but it's just private pay. So community, there's a lot of subsidies and a lot of people get them free depending on your income. But with Nurse Next Door, it's you have to pay full price. We do accept a few insurances, but we do everything. Like, so I've worked in the community and then I work for Nurse Next Door. So we definitely do go above and beyond. Like, we take over all the things that you want to do. Like, I remember when I used to work for the community, I got into trouble for doing a client's laundry because the client had MS and he had like a top loader. So he could put the clothes in, but he wouldn't pull them out because he was on a wheelchair and he would have to like physically stand up to get the clothes, but he was not able to do that. And so he would like have this picker thing that he would get individual clothes from, and it would take him like a good 45 minutes to an hour to do this process.
Wow.
Because those things don't have the best grip. So I was there one day and I put it in the dryer. I did it multiple times. Then one time this worker came and questioned him about it, and she was like, how did you do this? So he just, out of, he didn't think anything of it. So he just said, oh, you did it for me. So the worker called the office, and then the office supervisor got back to me, and then I got into trouble for doing something that was not on the care plan. And so the logic of the community, which I understand, is that you're covered with WorkSafe, and if you do any extra task, then you get into trouble. But what my perspective was that as a caregiver, I am in there to help the client, to make their lives easy. So it doesn't make any sense to me that I can't pull out clothes from the laundry and put it in the dryer. So when I was getting scolded for doing this, I very nicely said, gave my opinion to the supervisor. And then after that, in the care plan, it was written in bold letters, do not help client with laundry, stars and everything. And I was a little upset because yes, this client had a daughter who visited him every now and then, but I mean, like, what's the big deal? Like, it's just clothes from the laundry to the dryer.
The lesson is that put everything on your care plan, whether you need it or not, if you might need it. And that's a terrible story, but thank you for bringing it up, because it's true. These organizations that get a contract or something, they get it to do exactly what's written and no more.
Right.
And if they go over budget doing things that they're not, hired to do, then that's what happens. It gets taken off the list, whether you need it or not.
Yeah, our company, like Nurse Next Door, is not like that. Like with Nurse Next Door, we do whatever the client wants. And I mean, unless it's like some really heavy lifting or, like major appliance things, but we do tell our caregivers to do whatever the clients need. And I feel like this needs to come in the community health as well, because I think it's not nice to have it. It's necessary to have this in place, that the caregivers are there to do whatever that needs to be done to make lives smoother for people who are living out in the community with a disability or an illness.
They should, yes.
For somebody that has something that's like neurodegenerative, like my dad, like, can the care plan change?
Yes.
Okay.
So the case manager comes in and does assessments every time. If, say, for example, 2 or 3 caregivers have reported that the client's becoming more difficult to transfer. So, or, it's the care is taking longer than usual. So then the case manager would come in and see, maybe they need to send 2 people, maybe they need to extend the time. But then whenever a case manager comes in, like, everybody gets always nervous, because a lot of the times they actually take away some of the hours because of the budget cuts and poor funding. So, that's why people are scared to do a reassessment, because they're like, well, what if they take away the hours? And I mean, like, Art and Maureen, like, they've been dealing with caregivers and case managers for a long time now. So, they know how to vouch for themselves, how to advocate for themselves. But most of the clients that I have are new to this. So they are still scared and they still don't understand the whole process.
It's still scary, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I would say you need to get a team. This is not like, why fight against the world? Because it could be like that. You can feel like you're by yourself against the world. So get the people around you to help you, because a team is better than a one-man effort, a one-person effort, etc.
Yeah. A case manager came in to assess my dad on a really good day, and for him, and pretty much told us that he would qualify for assisted living. And I was like, there's no way with the wait times on homes that he will qualify for assisted living. We need to be on long-term care list. So it's really circumstantial, which is scary.
Write the plan, write it out according to the worst day.
Okay.
And say, you know, it doesn't matter what you see right now. This is what is most likely going to happen. And be aware of what might happen in the future. Yeah, because getting hours is hard, and getting more hours is really hard, much harder. So don't err on the conservative side. Err on the excessive side.
Exactly, because things do get worse. They rarely get better.
Well, yeah, I mean, even, you know, we're not, each one of us is getting older, not younger, right?
Yeah.
So it's generally things do not get better with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And good for you if they do, but, you know, don't plan for that. Don't let anyone else know that.
Sheena, did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. I don't mean to interrupt, I feel I'm all alone and I have to adapt. Like if I have a permanent a brain injury from a car accident, that's not my fault. And now my because of my broken hip, my pelvis, my gait's changed after my severe car accident. Before I walk, and then so now my big toe is overlapping my second toe, and it's just 1 foot. So when artists and preparing for the worst, I just said, well, if if it hurts, then how it kind of intertwines to my spine and my neck and things like that. So I don't want to make it worse. So I just as well, and then I'm educating myself, how to prevent it from the bunion, because I can no longer wear high heel shoes anymore. And it's just because of my gait, GAIT, pelvis that's been broken, and then they have to put nails or something on my pelvis, but that's a physical area. So really I don't have help. I'm just helping me. So it's just self-care, and I mow the lawn. That's okay. I feel proud of myself that I mow the lawn, and I cook for myself. And so just managing life, on my own, it's really, really hard and brokenhearted that I have to separate from, my partner, who I thought would be my husband, but he has not been a good a person to me. And my dad had just passed away, so it's really hard on me. And so and then do I have to pay a cook and somebody to cut my lawn or clean my house? I just have to adapt and do that myself, but I'm tired too. So I don't want to pay them. I'd rather do that myself, you see? So I don't know, I guess, so I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, Art. May I call you Art? That you say you're in a box, like one box here and one box there. I mean, I'm saying, where am I? I'm able and I'm disabled. I mean, I can sing, but I don't really know. I'm not really tech savvy like before. So I have to start everything over again, using my brain, and that tires me. But at least I can sing, and I love harmonizing. But right now, I just don't feel confident to sing with another partner because of the transmissible Delta variant. So I thought, well, because that's sort of my passion, my music. So yes. So I guess the answer is I'm all alone. It's hard work, but I have to do it myself. Otherwise, I'll be broke. I mean, I have to pay people this, people that, people this, and I thought I can still do it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm mowing my own lawn. I can't drive anymore. And, I go to school. I can no longer become a student because I don't really remember what I read, or it's a lot of, I've been crying when I went to Douglas College. They had New Direction class, And then they had writing and reading class. Oh, it was just rivers. I was in pain. I didn't understand what the teacher was talking about. And then we do group work. I didn't understand. My brain was kind of, I'm not on drugs, but it's slower thinking. So yeah, so that's a lot of self-discovery, and also to let other disabled people know too that I look normal until you hear I talk, and to hear I function. It's very different from how I used to be before my car accident. So see, I get no help except me.
Well, there are people. I would talk to your doctor first and get a social worker involved, and then there's some community organizations that will give you in the list that we'll put together after this meeting. And
I'm thankful for my puppet trustee, Garth. My dad died, so now my puppet trustee. Now it's a real thing. I had my tree, my cedar tree trim, and also the gutter cleaning. So and then anyway, that's what I'm sort of focusing on now. And so, and I did not have a social worker when I was at GF Strong, because you were at GF Strong, and I see you too on the wheelchair. So I can't really walk. I wouldn't limp a bit.
Well, you need to get a social worker. They're somebody that should be on your team advocating for you.
Is that the same as case manager? Social worker?
No.
Okay, so
thank you.
Good thing would be to ask your doctor to help find a social worker.
Really? Okay, so that's what you've said.
Is that correct,
thank you. I'll think about that. Yes, but then I have to pay a social worker to figure out my life.
No, you don't have to pay them. No.
Oh, I thought I have to figure my life out without paying social worker to tell me what to do.
You need somebody's help to figure your life out, because figuring your life out when you've had an injury is not always easy. It's something that takes team effort, and
it's a lot of weight on my shoulder, but at least I haven't, died from suicide. But I'm just thankful that I work hard, despite all my injuries, my broken bones, and then hopefully I can help others, but I got to help me too. But that's hard. Me, like, how do I help me? It's by me, but that's hard because I don't really know how to do that. I kind of do. But I get tired, so I don't want to eat out. So I cook. So I've become better, at cooking meals for myself.
Right. So I think we will work on putting together a list of resources. I would love that if Maureen and Art could email me and Pooja some resources that come to mind, and I'll put together a list and I can send it to everyone that attended this meeting, and then hopefully we can throw it on our website under our resources page.
I think Nellie wants to say something.
Yes.
Hello, Nellie.
Hi, Nellie.
Hi, Nellie.
I'm so sorry. I joined in so late because I had issues with this computer. My name is Nellie Wong. I'm 77 years old. I am familiar with the disability foundations, organizations like ConnecTogether, BC, Moss, the Trail Riders, etc. I have a daughter. She has cerebral palsy in a wheelchair. And right now, we have a committee working on people that are elderly like myself, who are taking care of their sons and daughters with a disability. Often, a lot of them are caring for them in their own homes. And it seems that we have like a wave of all of us at this age level. And I think there's going to be, a lot of parents, caregivers who will be in crisis situations, because not only do they have their own health issues, but also, caring for their own adult children who are, cannot care for themselves, cannot get enough care from CLBC. And I often think like what is going to happen to the people like us who are aging?
That's a
tough question. Yeah. Well, I would say don't waste a minute and start talking to your healthcare people and get a social worker involved and start making plans and figuring out options, and don't wait for the system to help you.
Exactly. I've learned that through the years.
Yeah. Nellie, thanks for sharing. There is a YouTube link. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch this whole thing from the beginning.
Okay. Thank you
Okay, so
very
it's the
much.
Disability Foundation. And we're going to be putting together a list of resources, and I'm going to email everyone that attended here. So
would that be disabilityfoundation.org?
yes, but the YouTube channel, if you just go to youtube.com, I'll just put it in the chat here.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry, we have to wrap this up. I think we should do, I would love to do another series on this. So maybe we can talk about that. But for now, I'm just going to throw the link into the chat and you can watch that from the beginning. Thank you so much to everybody that participated in this conversation. To Art and Maureen and Pooja for being here, and for everybody that shared, Jose, Sheena, Nelly, thank you so much. And yes, I wish you all the best. And as I said, we'll get these resources up as soon as we can.
Thank you for doing the program, and I'll keep an eye out for another session.
Yes.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Nice to see everyone.